be my film title, you know, and then I'd be putting in my information, and I'd be saying that it was a video, and for me, you know, it would be a YouTube. You could also, and I guess this is where you've got to make some decisions as a researcher. You know, a YouTube doesn't necessarily have to go under the film video. It can be classified as a website. At the end of the day, whatever you pick, do the same system throughout. So if you're using your YouTubes and you decide to do it as websites, do that for all of them. Don't pick and choose halfway through. Okay. So that is, you know, the basics of getting a reference, right? But then what we want to do is actually play around with putting some referencing into a document. So when you're, when you're actually creating text, I am creating text, I am using a quote here. There's a couple of different ways to reference. So one of the things you can do, move my face out of the way, is to put your quote in, quotey quote, and then if you are using in-text referencing, you're putting a bracket, you're putting the name of the source. So if that is a person, say for example an interview with me, it would be my last name. If it was the name of the website, then name of the website. If it was a textbook without an author, it might be the textbook name. It has to be an identifier that allows us to understand where you got that source. Then it will usually be the year of creation. If you're using a website and you can't find the year of creation, you can use the year of access, but you do need to make sure that you're being consistent with that. And if it was a book or a magazine or something, you might have a page number. Okay, end your bracket, then put a full stop at the end. Now, this is really important. The full stop goes at the end of in-text citations. If you are going to do in-text citations, you do not do footnotes afterwards. Okay, so you only do in-text. Brackets, done, that's it. Okay, for those of you who like to play around with technology, you can also use, in the References tab, an insert citation feature here. It does mean that you need to manually input all your sources into Word, and then from that, it will actually create your in-text references for you. It's a cool little tool, something to think about playing with. So what about if I decided I didn't want to use in-text referencing? Actually, I wanted to use footnotes. So pros and cons, there are none. Like, it doesn't actually matter. When you're doing in-text citations and you're typing them in, they will be counting in your word count. Okay, Word doesn't understand that just because you put brackets around it doesn't make it a something to count. So you have to keep track of them. Footnotes, you can click a button and they're not counted. So that is a pro and con. Ultimately, it makes no difference though. Just pick one. So here I am, I'm creating text, I'm using a quote, here goes my quote, and then to put a footnote in, I need to put the full stop on the inside, and I need to put the footnote on the outside. What you'll notice is that a little number pops up, and then that number corresponds to number 1 position of your reference. So at the bottom of the page, I can now cut and paste my bibliography citation, and then I put that in to my footnote. Now, because it was a website, there's only one name, so I don't need to worry about reversing first name, last name. It just sits really nicely there. That is footnote 1. Okay. So then if I am writing more text and using another quote here, quote. If I'm now going to put a second sentence with a second footnote, I follow the same process. Full stop on the inside of the quotation marks and footnote on the outside. Now this is second position for references. So I can put the same reference if I used that one underneath. Or if I used a different reference, I would put that in instead. it's really important that you're not